Before you give up on your marriage, what if the emotional distance that you're feeling isn't because your husband doesn't care about you, but because you're both trapped in a cycle that's actually pushing each other apart? If you're feeling emotionally distant from your husband, you might be thinking it's because he's not trying hard enough, or he has all these problems, or he doesn't love you anymore. And maybe you're even considering walking away from your marriage. But here is what you need to know: the distance isn't just about him. The way that you are trying to improve the relationship by pushing him to change or either pulling back in frustration is actually making the gap wider. You see, you're both stuck in a cycle where neither of you feels loved or respected. And that's what's keeping the intimacy with each other out of reach. Now, here's how this dysfunctional cycle works. When you feel like your husband is being neglectful in some way, you might try to get his attention by pointing out what he's doing wrong, right? And what you feel that you want him to do instead. But these actions actually make him feel criticized, rejected. So as a reaction, he either gets angry or checks out, pulls back too. So you probably notice he gets angry, defensive, stonewalls, like he refuses to speak to you. And you find this so frustrating because it's like you're just trying to have honest communication and address the issues. And when you get a reaction like that, it feels like, almost like it confirms in your mind that there's something wrong with him. And now you've probably tried this several times and you keep getting the same reaction. No real change on his part. So you feel like he doesn't really care about you, which makes you feel really, really hurt and hopeless. Okay. Here is the key breakthrough. Okay. So before you even consider giving up on your marriage, here's what you need to know. What you are actually doing right now is telling your husband why he's failing you or your family, which is the exact opposite of what motivates and moves a man. Okay, say this with me now. I want to know what motivates and moves my man. I don't want to hurt him, right? But I do want to know what motivates and moves him, okay? Which is good, okay? Because so far I can guarantee that you have not done this. So before you give up, try this. First, pause and notice how you communicate with him. Okay, what does this communication look like? Are you, number one, commenting on his behavior, saying things like, I can't believe you treated our son so poorly? Are you telling him what you think he needs to do? Like, you need to be more sensitive. You need to speak with a therapist about your anger problem, okay, etc. You need to deal with your childhood wounds. Okay, look at what is happening. In both cases, you're complaining about his behavior. You're telling him how you think he needs to improve. Now, so many women do not realize this, but in man language, this is inherently disrespectful. Okay. And communication like this is inherently damaging the relationship, right? Because when sharing how you feel means criticizing your husband, insisting that you know better, you're showing him that you neither trust him nor respect him, which is why he acts in such a negative way, right? It's not actually because there's something wrong with him. It's because he feels really, really hurt. Okay. Like I said, women are doing this all the time and they don't realize it. And so they don't realize how quickly you could actually turn things around in your relationship. So, I teach something called the psychology of intimacy, which is how a husband and wife actually make each other feel loved. Because the truth is, your core desire for love as a woman is very different from your husband's. So, you can actually be wounding him repeatedly and not even realize it or intend it, right? That's why it's so frustrating. When he reacts negatively to you, you experience that as wounding for you too, right? Like, gosh, like that really hurts me as well. Okay. And you're right, it does. And so then when you complain about that, he just starts to give up because he feels like whatever I do, like I just can't win with her. Okay. Here's what you need to know about your husband. A, he wants you to be happy. B, he wants your respect. So when you are talking to him about all the problems you have with him, this is actively breaking down the trust and respect that you need as the key ingredients to have both emotional safety in the relationship and emotional intimacy. So, when I teach you the psychology of intimacy, this literally changes everything. All of a sudden, you know exactly, like phrase by phrase, how to influence your husband positively so that he takes action on your desires because he wants to show you that he cares for you. He wants to show you his love. And when you do this, right, and it's actually only within your power to do, amazing things happened. So I have worked with women who were actually separated from their husbands. They thought their marriages were over, only to see them just completely transform into intimate and loving marriages. Okay. How is this possible? Okay, because the way she was trying to go about it initially, it was actually contrary to how you create intimacy. So one client I worked with, Emily, she was actually ready to leave her husband. Right? There had been years of distance, arguing, fighting, all of those things. And she and her husband were actually living at this time separately. But when she started using the psychology of intimacy, right, how man and woman actually feel loved by each other, he responded to her very differently. You see, 99% of the time, couples are having serious marriage problems. They're actually really, really good people. Okay. Like this is, I know this, I've been doing this for years and it's absolutely true. Okay. But they are not communicating with each other in a way that builds trust, respect, and emotional intimacy. Right. So they're actually not only missing each other's core desire for love, but actively wounding the other in that tender spot where they would most likely or most desperately want to feel their spouse's love. Right. That is actually why it's so painful. Right, and it's why, honestly, really, really good-hearted couples can have such a hard time in marriage. Okay, the truth is your husband is not a bad guy. Okay, but he's reacting to how you see him, right? You see him as the bad guy, right? And this affects also how you share your heart with him. So, bottom line, you don't have to give up on your relationship. You just need the right tools to create intimacy. So, if you're ready to stop the distance and actually create a marriage full of tenderness where you feel pursued, adored, like you're just dating him all over again, and he's just like, can't wait to show you more and more ways that he cares about you, wants to support you, and love you, you can apply to work with me. There's a button here below. I invite you to check that out because you deserve a marriage that feels loving and connected. So let's make that happen.